Hey everybody, welcome back to ThaxCast. A couple weeks ago I talked to you about my hometown of Borger, Texas. Today I wanted to talk about Adobe Walls, a place near Borger, Texas that has some historical value. Adobe Walls is about 30 miles northeast of Borger. It was originally a trading outpost, but it was closed down due to the high activity of natives in the area, and they went ahead and blew it up just to keep the natives from appropriating it. By November of 1864, there was an increase in attacks on settlers and caravans that went through the Texas Panhandle. So the Army selected Christopher Kit Carson to go take care of the problem. Carson's first target was a Kiowa village led by Chief Doazan, or Little Mountain. Chief Doazan decided to leave town and go raise the cry among the other natives to make sure that they were ready for attack. A native by the name of Guipago, or Lone Wolf the Elder, led the attacks on the Americans to give the women and children time to evacuate the village. Coming to assist the natives were Santakea and Setanta, or Sitting Bear and White Bear. Now, in an example of history as written by the winners, the early estimates of the natives engaged in the battle were around 3,000, but later when they looked at the villages, at best they could have had about 1,300. Now, this number of 3,000 was even immortalized on a Texas historical marker, but that's not to say that the soldiers weren't still outnumbered. This just means that they were outnumbered about 4 to 1 instead of about 10 to 1, as they had about 330 soldiers. Now, Carson had the upper hand in arms. He had better quality of guns, and he also had a couple of howitzers to keep the natives at bay. Overall, the body count was pretty low. The Americans only lost about 6 people, and the natives only lost between about 50 to 60. Carson was low on ammo and supplies, so they retreated to a nearby Kiowa village where they burned it down, and the 4 Kiowas that were too decrepit to get away, he had them mutilated. Now, Carson retreated back to New Mexico, and they called it a military victory. I guess you could call it a victory, even though they retreated because they had the fewer loss of lives. Now, the second Battle of Adobe Walls happened about 10 years later, and this was spurred mainly from the Americans really going after the bison. By about 1800, there was estimated to be 50 to 60 million bison. By 1870, there were fewer than 500,000. This was due to American hunters and a new tanning technique that made the hides very valuable. Now, the natives saw the writing on the wall. They knew that the bison was near extinction, and they wanted to do something about it. So in 1874, the Americans had set up a new post at Adobe Walls, and the natives decided that was the final straw, so they were going to do something about it. Here's another time when the number of natives involved varies greatly. Estimates range anywhere from 250 to 1,500, with the more reliable being probably around 600 to 700. This group of natives was led by Isatai, or roughly translated as Wolf Vagina, and Quanah Parker. Now, Quanah Parker was the son of Chief Pettinacona of the Comanches, and his mother was Cynthia Parker, who is an American that was captured as a kid and was fully integrated into the Comanche tribe. The fatalities were low again. The Americans only lost 4, and one of those killed himself by accident, climbing down a ladder, pulled the trigger, and shot himself in the head. The natives only lost about 30. So overall, we're talking about a couple of battles that not a lot of people were killed in. In the days that followed the attack, the natives kept a perimeter around the area, but keeping their distance. The men at the post asked Billy Dixon to take a shot. Now, Billy Dixon was a known marksman. He took a .50 caliber rifle and took a shot at a native that was on a bluff. Now, the range of the shot varies depending on who's telling it, but it could be anywhere from about half a mile to a mile. Either way, the distance was pretty good, especially for the time in the rifle. Even Billy Dixon, who admits to being a great marksman, chalks that shot up to luck, but that one shot took out a native. Now, in the attack, Quanah Parker had been injured, and between that injury and the native being shot at such a distance had them so discouraged that the natives backed off and retreated. Now, both of these battles had very low casualty rates, so you may wonder, what's the significance and why does it matter? These battles are significant because they led to the Red River War of 1874 to 1875. The result of that short war was the final relocation of the Southern Plains natives to Oklahoma. Well, that's about it for Adobe Walls. Let me know what you think. Give me a thumbs up if you liked it. Give me a thumbs down if you didn't. Leave your comments. I'm always curious to know what you think. I'd also love your subscription. I try to put out new videos every Monday or Tuesday. Thanks for coming by. Be good to each other and have a good one.